Chapter 2. The Strange Cousin. The children's aunt had been watching for the car. She came running out of the old wooden door as soon as she saw it draw up outside. The children liked the look of her at once. "Welcome to Kirin," she cried. "Hello, all of you. It's lovely to see you. And what big children!" There were kisses all round, and then the children went into the house. They liked it. It felt old and rather mysterious somehow, and the furniture was old and very beautiful. "Where's Georgina?" asked Anne, looking round for her unknown cousin. "Oh, the naughty girl. I told her to wait in the garden for you," said her aunt. "Now she's gone off somewhere. I must tell you, children, you may find George a bit difficult at first. She's always been one on her own, you know, and at first may not like you being here. But you mustn't take any notice of that. She'll be all right in a short time. I was very glad for George's sake that you were able to come. She badly needs other children to play with." "Do you call her George?" asked Anne in surprise. "I thought her name was Georgina." "So it is," said her aunt, "but George hates being a girl, and we have to call her George as if she was a boy. The naughty girl won't answer if we call her Georgina." The children thought that Georgina sounded rather exciting. They wished she would come, but she didn't. Their Uncle Quentin suddenly appeared instead. He was a most extraordinary-looking man, very tall, very dark, and with a rather fierce frown on his wide forehead. "Hello, Quentin," said Daddy. "It's a long time since I've seen you. I hope these three won't disturb you very much in your work." "Quentin is working on a very difficult book," said Aunt Fanny, "but I've given him a room all to himself on the other side of the house, so I don't expect he will be disturbed." Their uncle looked at the three children and nodded to them. The frown didn't come off his face, and they all felt a little scared, and were glad he was to work in another part of the house. "Where's George?" he said in a deep voice. "Gone off somewhere again," said Aunt Fanny, vexed. "I told her she was to stay here and meet her cousins." "She wants spanking," said Uncle Quentin. The children couldn't quite make out whether he was joking or not. "Well, children, I hope you have a good time here, and maybe you will knock a little common sense into George." There was no room at Kirin Cottage for Mother and Daddy to stay the night, so after a hurried supper, they left to stay at a hotel in the nearest town. They would drive back to London immediately after breakfast the next day. So they said goodbye to the children that night. Georgina still hadn't appeared. "I'm sorry we haven't seen Georgina," said Mother. "Just give her our love and tell her we hope she'll enjoy playing with Dick, Julian and Anne." Then Mother and Daddy went. The children felt a little bit lonely as they saw the big car disappear round the corner of the road, but Aunt Fanny took them upstairs to show them their bedrooms, and they soon forgot to be sad. The two boys were to sleep together in a room with slanting ceilings at the top of the house. It had a marvellous view of the bay. The boys were really delighted with it. Anne was to sleep with Georgina in a smaller room whose windows looked over the moors at the back of the house. But one side window looked over the sea, which pleased Anne very much. It was a nice room, and red roses nodded their heads in at the window. "I do wish Georgina would come," Anne said to her aunt. "I want to see what she's like." "Well, she's a funny little girl," said her aunt. "She can be very rude and haughty, but she's kind at heart, very loyal and absolutely truthful. Once she makes friends with you, she will always be your friend, but she finds it very difficult indeed to make friends, which is a great pity. Anne suddenly yawned. The boys frowned at her, because they knew what would happen next, and it did. Poor Anne, how tired you are! You must all go to bed straightway and have a good long night. Then you will wake up quite fresh tomorrow, said Aunt Fanny. Anne, you are an idiot, said Dick crossly, when his aunt had gone out of the room. You know quite well what grown-ups think as soon as we yawn. I did want to go down on the beach for a while. I'm so sorry, said Anne. Somehow I couldn't help it. And anyway, you're yawning now, Dick. And Julian too. So they were. They were as sleepy as could be with their long drive. Secretly, all of them longed to cuddle down into bed and shut their eyes. I wonder where Georgina is, said Anne, when she said good-night to the boys and went to her own room. Isn't she queer, not waiting to welcome us, and not coming into supper, and not even in yet? After all, she's sleeping in my room. Goodness knows what time she'll be in. All the 3 children were fast asleep before Georgina came up to bed. They didn't hear her open Anne's door. They didn't hear her get undressed and clean her teeth. They didn't hear the creak of her bed as she got into it. They were so tired that they heard nothing at all until the sun awoke them in the morning. When Anne awoke, she couldn't at first think where she was. She lay in her little bed and looked up at the slanting ceiling and at the red roses that nodded at the open window, and suddenly remembered all in a rush where she was. I'm at Kirin Bay, and it's the holidays, she said to herself, and screwed up her legs with joy. Then she looked across at the other bed. In it lay the figure of another child, curled up under the bedclothes. Anne could just see the top of a curly head, and that was all. When the figure stirred a little, Anne spoke. I say, are you Georgina? The child in the opposite bed sat up and looked across at Anne. She had very short curly hair, almost as short as a boy's. Her face was burnt a dark brown with the sun, and her very blue eyes looked as bright as forget-me-nots in her face. But her mouth was rather sulky, and she had a frown like her father's. No, she said, I'm not Georgina. Oh, said Anne in surprise. Then who are you? I'm George, said the girl. I shall only answer if you call me George. I hate being a girl. I won't be. I don't like doing the things that girls do. I like doing the things that boys do. I can climb better than any boy and swim faster too. I can sail a boat as well as any fisher boy on this coast. You're to call me George. Then I'll speak to you. But I shan't if you don't. Oh, said Anne, thinking that her new cousin was most extraordinary. All right, I don't care what I call you. George is a nice name, I think. I don't much like Georgina. Anyway, you look like a boy. Do I really? Said George, the frown leaving her face for a moment. Mother was awfully cross with me when I cut my hair short. I had hair all round my neck. It was awful. The 2 girls stared at one another for a moment. Don't you simply hate being a girl? Asked George. No, of course not, said Anne. You see, I do like pretty frocks, and I love my dolls, and you can't do that if you're a boy. Phew. Fancy bothering about pretty frocks, said George in a scornful voice. And dolls. Well, you are a baby, that's all I can say. Anne felt offended. You're not very polite, she said. You won't find that my brothers take much notice of you if you act as if you know everything. They're real boys. She won't answer if you call her Georgina, explained Anne. She's awfully queer, I think. She says she didn't want us to come because we'll interfere with her. She laughed at me and was rather rude. Julian put his arm round Anne, who looked a bit doleful. Cheer up, he said. You've got us to stick up for you. Come on down to breakfast. They were all hungry. The smell of bacon and eggs was very good. They ran down the stairs and said good morning to their aunt. She was just bringing the breakfast to the table. Their uncle was sitting at the head reading his paper. He nodded at the children. They sat down without a word, wondering if they were allowed to speak at meals. They always were at home, but their Uncle Quentin looked rather fierce. George was there, buttering a piece of toast. She scowled at the three children. Don't look like that, George, said her mother. I hope you've made friends already. It will be fun for you to play together. You must take your cousins to see the bay this morning and show them the best places to bathe. I'm going fishing, said George. Her father looked up at once. You are not, he said. You are going to show a few good manners for a change and take your cousins to the bay. Do you hear me? Yes, said George with a scowl exactly like her father's. Oh, we can go to the bay by ourselves all right, if George is going fishing, said Anne at once, thinking that it would be nice not to have George if she was in a bad temper. George will do exactly as she's told, said her father. If she doesn't, I shall deal with her. So, after breakfast, 4 children got ready to go down to the beach. An easy path led down to the bay, and they ran down happily. Even George lost her frown as she felt the warmth of the sun and saw the dancing sparkles on the blue sea. You go fishing if you want to, said Anne when they were down on the beach. We won't tell tales of you. We don't want to interfere with you, you know. We've got ourselves a company, and if you don't want to be with us, you needn't. But we'd like you all the same, if you'd like to be with us, said Julian generously. He thought George was rude and ill-mannered, but he couldn't help rather liking the look of the straight-backed, short-haired little girl with her brilliant blue eyes and sulky mouth. George stared at him. I'll see, she said. I don't make friends with people just because they're my cousins or something silly like that. I only make friends with people if I like them. So do we, said Julian. We may not like you, of course. Oh, said George. Isn't that a funny place, she said. I wonder what it's called. It's called Kirin Island, said George, her eyes as blue as the sea as she turned to look at it. It's a lovely place to go. If I like you, I may take you there some day, but I don't promise. The only way to get... Who does the funny island belong to? Asked Julian. George made a most surprising answer. It belongs to me, she said. At least it will belong to me someday. It will be my very own island and my very own castle.